Hi, this is Rob from dnbalmanac.com with This Week in Dave Matthews Band History. On July 16th, 2002, the Busted Stuff album was released the same day that DMB kicked off a 3-night stand in Camden, New Jersey. By July 2002, we were familiar with all of the songs on the album. Most had been played live since 2000, and unfinished studio versions from that spring famously leaked in early 2001. Where Are You Going and You Never Know were written in the time surrounding the Busted Stuff sessions and debuted as full band songs during the spring tour. But the band held off on debuting an updated version of Captain and first live playing at all of Kit Kat Jam until the night of release day in Camden. Both were highly anticipated as Captain had been part of Dave and Tim's set since '97, and Kit Kat Jam was one of the few Lily White session songs that wasn't played in 2000. You can find all the album releases and check in on the current tour set lists at dnbalmanac.com, where you can see that DMB have played 13 straight shows without a repeated opener or final song, and we never stop looking for information on older shows. Follow us on Facebook and Threads to get daily updates with everything that happened that day in the band's history.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Space Between podcast, the podcast that is literally about the fans of a band that has been making music for over 30 years. And if you found this podcast, you must be a fan of Dave Matthews Band. They've been with us 34 years now, and just saying that, I'm like, what is happening, right? So if you've been listening to this podcast for a little while, you know I'm just on a little bit of a siesta. I've been traveling to see the band and traveling to get to know more of the band's fans. And so I've been really busy. And also, if you've been listening, you know that this is a one-woman show. Everything you've seen or heard in regards to the Space Between podcast is done solely by little o me. So the messaging, all of the things that come with this, I have been doing it all. And so I'm getting myself very organized, and I've had some really cool things happen just recently that I can't wait to share with you guys. But just now is not the time. And so just know that there'll be some fun stuff I'll be talking about later. I have got the chance to meet so many fans, just recently at Deer Creek. And, Justin and I's minds continue to be blown by I don't even know what to say. This community is so completely different than anything I've ever experienced before. So long story short, I'm working on some things. I'm getting the next season ready to come out, which I think will be like season 8. I can't believe this. I always say we, but it's but Justin is he's like the CFO or whatever of this. So we are, I think we've almost put out, I think we're at 180 episodes. So we're creeping up to 200. Just the stories we have been able to collect is mind-boggling, and I'm just so thankful. I'm so grateful for each person that's come before and shared their journey and how music is such a powerful tool for so many of us. And so I'm going to play my last rerun of this season. And then, like I said, season 8 is on its way. So get ready. It's going to be next week. So you don't have to wait long, but I know a lot of you guys are driving to SPAC, getting ready to SPAC. And so I know that this episode is going to bring you a lot of joy. It is one that I did in season 1 when I was literally just trying to figure this all out. Because remember, I'm not a podcaster by trade. I've been a nurse for 15 years. And so I'll make you go back and listen to all the backstories that I've pre-recorded years ago. But this has been so fun to figure out. There's no words for all of the things. And so enjoy this episode. It is literally one that I listen to all the time. And I know that sounds funny. Why do you listen to your own podcast? Well, yes, I'm the host of this podcast, but I'm not the guest. Well, sometimes I am, but I'm not the guest. And so when this guest came on, we broke down the amazing song, Hunger for the Great Light. It's one of those songs that when I heard it and I really understood what they were saying, I was like, oh my God. Like how fabulous is this? And so Karen and I, she will be calling herself Miss Matthews because, why not? We know he's married, but like a girl can have a fantasy, right? We were going to talk about the hunger for the Great Light, and we did. In about 45 minutes, we summed up that song. We broke it down. So this episode is not one that you can listen to around sensitive ears. And Mom, if you're listening to this episode, I love you so much. And I thank you for all the support that you've been giving me over the last, and the grief I've put you through in the last couple of years doing this. But this is an episode I'd rather just keep out of your ears. We're going to talk about sex. We're going to talk about the vagina. We're going to talk about the penis. We are going to talk about orgasms. And Mom, I know you know I do it, but I don't want to talk to you about it, okay? I'll just talk to thousands of other people about it. But this episode really, it just cheers me up every time. My friend Karen DeSano, shout out to you, babe. She's in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. She's one of my very first Dave friends. I met her at my very first Dave meetup. And that's a whole nother story, but we've been friends since. We don't get to see each other often, but when she's on this podcast, she demands your attention and she's good at getting it. So I can't love this anymore. And get ready, guys. Buckle your seatbelts. Maybe put your earpods in because whatever you want to call them, put them in your ears because you're about to have an eargasm. Guys, hunger for the Great Light.
Welcome to another episode of The Space Between. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. This is lucky number 13. And boy, do we have a Valentine's Week treat for you. So the title of this particular podcast is called Little Death Delight, the untold story of a Dave-gasm. Now, hopefully that tickled your ears just enough to go, what the fuck are they about to talk about? Well, let me introduce my guest to you. You've heard her voice a couple of times, Miss Matthews. Welcome back to the show.
Well, hello. Oh my God, I love that title so much. And I'm telling you, it makes me so moist.
Oh gosh. So, Miss Matthews, can you go ahead and do a disclaimer before our listeners listen any further to this episode? Go ahead and do like a parental, like say what we're about to do. Just put out that disclaimer for us right quick.
We are going to actually break down Dave sex. And I know that sounds really crazy, but it's not about, oh my God, I want Dave to have sex with me. We're going to talk about Dave Matthews Band songs with sex. Now, we are going to be open and honest. We're going to talk about the penis. We're going to talk about the vagina. We're going to talk about orgasm. So this is not for anyone young at heart who loves the Dave Matthews Band. This will be a grown-up conversation about different lyrics for the Dave Matthews Band, and not just about sex, but what it is about sex and why he talks about it.
Thank you. Okay, so this is time to dismiss those kids if you're listening out loud, or you know what? Let's locate those earbuds, okay? Because we're going to need to tap that sound a little bit just so you can hear it. But you know what? Some of the things we're going to say, hopefully, will tickle your ears a little bit, and you'll have an eargasm tonight. So get ready, guys. You're going to sleep well after listening to this. So one of the first songs we're going to break down, it's a great song. Has it been played a million times? No. Actually, it's been played 143 times in all of its entirety since creation. So we're going to break down the classic song from the Stand Up album. Tell us what it is, Miss Matthews.
Hungry for the Great Light. Oh my God.
Hunger for the Great Light. Yes. So this was on the Stand Up album.
Yes.
It's on 10 of the live release album. It was last played according to the DMB Almanac back in 2018. Their shortest version of the song ever played was 3 minutes and 28 seconds, which was back in 2005. And then the longest version was also in that same year, 2005, which was 4 minutes and 31 seconds. It's been an opener 2 times in its existence, and it's been an encore 2 times in its existence. The longest time it's been off the market was 2,076 days, and it was liberated between 2007 and 2013 that it was not played at all. So it was liberated back in 2013. So Little Death Delight, where the hell did that come from? That's not even the name of the song. The name of the song is Hunger for the Great Light. But before we tell you how we came up with that title, I want to say that, again, this podcast really is not your typical DMB podcast. We're not going to ask songs like, what's your favorite song? What our jobs are is I like to tease everybody that I'm a historian, that I break down the Dave Matthews Band, a band that's been around for, we're counting, almost 32 years. And then even before that, as musicians in their own realm. And so we really like to dissect songs. We like to dissect the background of fans. We know that we've got a fan that is celebrating his 500th show this summer. And I was just telling my husband about this. No, it's Josh Roberts. Is that right? Josh Roberts, I believe is his name. He's a teacher. He has a great story. So Josh, if you're listening, shout out to you. I will be at your 500th show party because, and Karen, you will be too. It's going to be it's at either one of the North Carolina or South Carolina shows this year.
It's
so we will be there.
I cannot believe 500 shows. I feel fortunate over the number of shows that I've been to, which I'm not going to say a number because that's a moot point. But to be at that many shows is
really awesome.
That's going to be me when I'm 80. Like
hopefully.
Let's say 25, let's be real. 25 more years of Dave. Hopefully, please. I hope I do, but that is just so incredible and the style that he has to have.
I mean, he really has seen the evolution of the band live in front of his face. So I definitely have reached out to Josh to see if he would be on an episode. And of course, he's agreed. So he's a school teacher, so just finding the time to do that with him. But we definitely will have him on the podcast soon. So shout out to Josh there. Okay, so doing our history, I like to dive into these songs and go, okay, I want to know from the beginning, like whose idea it was. And so from what I was able to gather, and again, none of this information has been confirmed because we don't have access to the band to make sure. We're still working on that. So again, I joke all I need are a few emails and a few phone numbers, and I can verify all of this information one day with the hopes of interviewing the band. But I'm so happy to just now be interviewing fans and looking at the Dave Matthews Band from a fan standpoint. So from what I was able to gather, it looks like that Stefan requested that this song be about sex in particular. The guitar part of it was written by Stefan, and then he kind of handed it over to Dave and said, here's this sound. I'd love if it could be about sex. And then Dave wrote the lyrics to this song. So I love a good backstory. So Karen, are you ready to let's break down Hunger for the Great Light and talk about what we feel in our own minds this song is about, okay? And then we'll talk about later on what other people have said and even go into like what it means. And so Karen, are you ready to break this song down?
What's up, y'all? This is David with the Dave Matthews Tribute Band, also known as the DMTB, and I'm here to tell you about our 2025 Sun's Embrace Summer Tour, which is happening now up and down the East Coast. If you've never heard of us, we're a tribute to DMB focusing on the old, original style of the music, featuring a violin, saxophone, sometimes some keyboards, and sticking to those 90s, early 2000s arrangements of the songs to help transport the listener back to a nostalgic time of tape trading and all kinds of good stuff when Dave was emerging out of Charlottesville in the early 90s. So if that sounds like your vibe, we hope to see you at one of our shows, and you can check out our tour dates at thedmtb.com/tour. or by checking out our socials by searching the DMTB. We'll see you on the road.
I'm as ready as I can be.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, so I've just kind of dissected this song a little bit. So the first four, it's just "Oh Great Light of Love," just repeating that 4 times. "Oh Great Light of Love." And then here we go with the first line. "Here you go, the dirty girl. Good God, try to love, God, love is a lively sight. Do you know who needs you?" All right, Karen, let's break it down. Start with "Here you go, the dirty girl."
Well, I want to start with the great light of love.
Oh, back it up. Yes.
Let's back it up. Let's back it up because this is kind of, in a sense, to me, a religious song. So the great light of love, in a lot of terminology, the light of love is just a different name for God. Now, Dave was raised a Quaker, if you didn't know that. I'm sure you knew that.
I did, but
Yeah, but no, it's really interesting. So it's devoted to peaceful principles. Central to the Quakers' belief is the doctrine of the inner light, or sense of Christ's direct working in the soul. This has led them to reject both formal ministry and all forms of worship. Now, on the flip side of this, for the religious side, he also proclaimed to be agnostic, which, if you look up what that means, it's the person that believes that nothing is known or can be known of the existence or nature of God or anything beyond material phenomenon. So it's a person who claims neither faith nor disbelief in God, which I just think it's so funny that so many of his songs talks about God, and yet he's agnostic to kind of doesn't really believe in God or a God. So it's funny that he's talking about the great light of love, which really just means God, and yet he's agnostic.
Hi, this is Rob from DMBAlmanac.com with This Week in Dave Matthews Band History. On July 16th, 2002, the Busted Stuff album was released the same day that DMB kicked off a 3-night stand in Camden, New Jersey. By July 2002, we were familiar with all of the songs on the album. Most had been played live since 2000, and unfinished studio versions from that spring famously leaked in early 2001. Where Are You Going and You Never Know were written in the time surrounding the Busted Stuff sessions and debuted as full band songs during the spring tour. But the band held off on debuting an updated version of Captain and first live playing at all of Kit Kat Jam until the night of release day in Camden. Both were highly anticipated, as Captain had been part of Dave and Tim's set since '97, and Kit Kat Jam was one of the few Lily White session songs that wasn't played in 2000. You can find all the album releases and check in on the current tour set lists at DMBAlmanac.com, where you can see that DMB have played 13 straight shows without a repeated opener or final song, and we never stop looking for information on older shows. Follow us on Facebook and Threads to get daily updates with everything that happened that day in the band's history.
yeah, it's tricky. God, there's so many questions.
It's 1,000 questions. 1,000.
Dave, we really need a sit down. That'd be so helpful. That'd be really helpful, Dave.
Let's see what I can work out. Yeah. It's so crazy that you just don't know. When you listen to a lot of the songs, he talks about God in a lot of them. One of my favorite lines, favorite lines is believing in God is like clinging to straws while you're drowning. Wow, that has always so affected me.
Wow.
Because being he's agnostic, does he believe in God or does he not? And yet you're believing in him is like clinging to straws while you're drowning, which means I'm sitting there and I'm holding on to something. You know, I'm in a plane crash or my child's in the hospital and he has cancer and he's dying. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, please God, save him. Yet all the time I'm agnostic and really don't believe in God.
Right.
So
I don't know. It's confusing. And again,
yeah.
no, yeah, we'll have to ask him again. That's their notes. The sit down.
I'll ask him when he comes home.
Thank God, Mrs. Matthews. You know that you're not married.
I'm single.
Remember last episode you were looking for your man. Anybody 55 to 65 with good health insurance?
I'm the writer, Mary. Have health insurance. Think you like Dave Matthews and you want someone to die with you? Call me.
Under Mrs. Matthews. Google her.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to that first line again. Let's start with "Here you go, the dirty girl." I like the way he says it. First of all, the way I say it is not anything like what when he says it. You're like, your ears listen, and you're like, oh, hello.
Your ears listen. You know, sex is honestly more than just a penis and a vagina. It is not.
Preach.
It's not. Sex is your brain.
Yes.
For women. Men, listen. I'm preaching to you. Men, listen. Sex for women is more of your brain. It's not my body. It's what I think and what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking.
Hell yeah.
So when you're sitting there singing that line, my brain is already moist. My brain, like,
just waiting on gravity to pull it down.
Do this. Let's do it.
So yeah, you walk in the room. Here you go, the dirty girl.
Stop sending dick pictures. That just it's all the words.
I mean, he's so sexy the way he did it. And I mean, yes, this song is intentional sexy, but like as a storyteller, I could say these words in a different tone, and it's. I mean, do you want to hear it? Here you go, the dirty girl, or do you want here you go, the dirty girl? Of course you want that. I mean, and he gives it to us.
In a much deeper voice.
I mean, I cannot, Dave Matt. I can't sing, but, you know. That's why I have a podcast. I can talk.
Just about.
Yeah, that was for my husband. He can rewind it over and over. You'll listen to my podcast now. He's so crazy. He wants to know what this podcast is about. I'm telling him it's Little Death's Delight. And I was like, I'm not going to tell you what my podcast is about, sir. If you want to hear me talk about sex, sir, you will get in line with the rest of the people.
I just want to be at least 10th in line. I'm not sloppy or anything. I just want to be 10th in line. Just
put your earbuds in, Justin. Listen to my podcast and then come talk to me.
Seriously, be rude.
Rude. Okay.
It's not like Dave is ever going to call us up and be like, hey, I'm going to come and, fuck you tonight. Well, all right.
Who?
Dave.
Baby, he's married.
I know. I would,
Let's talk about that. I do not want to have sex with Dave Matthews.
I would not want to have sex with him being married. I love the fact that he's so in love with Ashley and his family, and he sings about it and he talks about it. And I love that he is so faithful. And whoever it was that he was going to cheat on burst out in the newspaper that he cheated with someone, I think that would diminish my love a little bit for him.
Yeah, I mean,
the song that he sings about love and his wife, and he closes his eyes, and whenever he says, I got people here, we know that his wife and kids are here. I got people that's the sign. His people are here, and he's written.
Right. We are not homewreckers. We are not. We're just talking about.
I would be so disappointed if and I don't want to know if you guys know something that I don't know. I don't want to.
We don't want to know. We don't want to be a gossiping podcast.
If you do, I like the fact that he is married. He's been married for 23 years. In my eyes, he's happily married, which means there's good times, there's bad times, there's arguments, there's not arguments. It's a typical marriage like all of us have or have had. And I would be so disappointed if I ever found out that he cheated. So when I sit here and talk about it, I'm like, oh, they want him to do this, and I love that. It's all jokingly because I honestly would.
We want the best for him. That's what it is.
I wish nothing
the best for him, and whatever that looks like for him, because
I want the best of what's around.
Sometimes marriage don't look like one thing. It can be whatever, do whatever you need to do. Okay. Anywho, let's get back to the song. Okay, so Karen, where do you want to come in here? How about I want to be your hunger. I want to see you, open wide. And when I go down for you, I want to blow your mind. Tell me what can he possibly be talking about, Karen? I don't quite understand.
I have no idea what any of that means.
What do you mean, go down on me?
What? But when it comes to I want to see you open wide, do you want to have me bare
my mouth?
Well, let's not talk about that. I can't, but we're going to end up cutting all that out.
I mean, could be about that. It's cool.
So maybe when you're talking about I want to see you open wide, is that I want honesty and faithfulness, and I want to hear every single thing that you have to say to me, and I want to hear all of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Or then again, God, spread your legs and let's just fucking do it.
I think that might be it, but we can look at it from a beautiful standpoint because let's be honest, sex can be dirty and whatever, but it can also be fucking fabulous and beautiful and magical. Let me tell you a secret. I swear to God, one time I saw Jesus.
Now, let's not talk about our relationship, Renae. Don't put it out there. Don't put it out there.
I'm not going to get into that again.
I gotta have a plug-in because I've seen Jesus too.
I was hungry for the great light.
Well, I haven't had sex for 2 years over my breakup.
Feel myself back in here. It's like the perfect combination of discussion and marijuana. And it's like, I can say anything.
So, let me tell you, ladies, get a plug-in. That's all I'm going to say. You want to see Jesus and you're single, get a plug-in. That's it. Get a plug-in.
I want to see you open wide. And when I go down for you, I want to blow your mind. Now, what's he saying, Karen? What's this blow your mind stuff about?
Well, what do you think it's about? It's about you are going to experience something that I'm going to take you to a mind fuck that you have never seen before.
Oh, and that's not just about the vagina?
No, it's not. It's about, sex is not, other than I just said it earlier, sex is not just a penis and a vagina, especially for women. Sex is more of a mind game. It is a brain fuck. So when you say those words to me, my brain is already spinning in 1,000 different directions, which then flows to the vagina, which gets moist. But if you're not brain fucking me in the right way, my vagina will not be as wet as you expect it to be, and I won't enjoy it as much as you think.
I mean, you gotta say all the right things to get my brain working. And then it starts in the brain. It starts from the top and then goes to the bottom.
That's right. That's right. Well, that's why, and then he doesn't want, and that's the one thing with Dave. And he says it actually. Someone had, hold on, I'm going to pull it up because somebody critiqued the song, which I do love what he said.
So many good.
It was amazing. It was amazing. He talked about basically that Dave talks about cunnilingus in such a brilliant way that basically he is shouting out to you that he wants to go down on you and he ain't afraid to fucking say it. And I'm like, preach.
Finally, a man that tells me what he wants to do.
It's not just I'm giving you a blowjob and then we're done. You need to get up, and I'm sitting there like, okay, well, that's it. No. Dave is not afraid to say what he wants.
Why should you be afraid to say what you want?
Do you want the blowjob? He's going to get a blowjob? Because trust me, the day comes and he asks me, yes, sir. But
God damn, God bless it. Okay.
Always.
Okay, it's so good of you to love you and I. Such a pretty thing. Smile, smile. You know you thrill me. I'm not going to sing it. Cross your heart and hope to die. You know I'd love to.
Now, you already talked about hope to die and what that is.
No, I didn't.
So, well, when he talks about kill, I want to kill you.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit deeper. Should we go deep right now?
Please.
Is it time to deep throat? I'm going to talk about deep stuff, and that's what I call it. No. Okay, so we're going to break apart this song a little bit on the deeper level here. And this is that nerdy, geeky shit that I love is, okay, let's try to imagine what he's talking about here. Like, because in this song, he talks about, like, there are some things that he says. I want to read a commentary first. Okay. This person, and it was an anonymous person, said, this is the greatest Dave Matthews Band song. Not necessarily because it's the best, but because it's about God and oral sex. What could be better? He says, and in quotation marks, you come like an answered prayer. Praise God. And that, of course, that's such a great line in there. And so many, it blows my mind, this whole song. It says, if you were to take this particular line outside of the song, well, of course, it would be hard to interpret it as if it's not religious, right? Like if you were to see the sentence, you came like an answered prayer, praise God, you will not be thinking about the orgasm that he's praying that you're going to have. No, that's not. But this is the great mind of David, John Matthews. So it says in this song, Dave actually uses the word come in, like COMEIN. He uses that in two different ways at the same time. So come in and then come in. Great Light of Love is a wonderful and very common name for God. It's wonderful how he uses it very clearly to symbolize the vagina. I love that. Women have always been worshipped for their ability to conceive children and thus continue life on earth. Furthermore, linking them to God the Father, creator of all life on earth as well. So let's break it down just a step further. Here we go. This is as deep as we go, Karen. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. So I thought I was going to be all genius by pulling this out. So I tell Karen what I'm about to tell you. And she's like, oh, yeah, I already knew that. And I was like, of course you did, Miss Matthews. Okay, so this is what I found, just like super nerdy. This is the kind of person that I am. This is the kind of fan I am. So in quotation marks, I have the little death delight. Well, that references not only death in the overt sense, but as an orgasm, as it's referred to in French as la petite mort, or tiny death. And to orgasm is to die, yet another link between sex and God, right? It's talking about God a lot, whether he wants to or not, but it all kind of ties back. So I asked Karen, I was like, have you heard of this la petite mort? And I had printed off, literally went to Wikipedia, Googled, what does this mean? And then I thought I'm going to be all smart and come to Karen and be like, listen to me break down this Dave Matthews Band song. And she was like, I already knew that. So tell us, Karen, about how you already knew all this stuff.
First of all, when it comes to orgasms, I know.
Well, you've been doing it a few more years than I have.
To 56. I've been around a little bit longer than you. I know what a good orgasm is. But then again, I nowadays have Google also. So when you were talking about this song, like Dodo, it was so much easier to break down. It's about a bird. It's about the end of life. It's about what we feel we have accomplished or not. Kind of like the great hunger for the great light. Have we accomplished what? Who doesn't want the great orgasm? Who doesn't want that little death? Because, you've had a great orgasm, I'm sure. I know for damn well I've had a great orgasm, and you do feel like you're dying a little, but not in the sense of, your body is
more. I feel like more like I'm being reborn rather than dying.
It is in my mind when it says I want to blow your mind. Well, yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's like your mind, my soul, it's being rejuvenated. You know what I'm saying? It's it's like a rebirth. Rejuvenation is like a rebirth of my inner soul, my connection to the relationship. How about that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it totally does.
It's really more of my reconnection to the relationship, or furthering my connection to my relationship. All of us. Now, Lex, you don't have to answer out loud. I can see your hands being raised. But how many of us have had that fake orgasm or have not had an orgasm?
I was married too. I did both of those in my first marriage.
I've had that a few times.
I was married for 18 years.
Now it wasn't all fake, but there are times when, as women, no offense to you guys, that we do fake it. But how does that leave us feeling at the end of that?
Hungry, devastated.
Real orgasm, how reconnected we are to that relationship versus not having one at all. So that is, yes, that little death. That's, I think, exactly what that means. It talks about.
So just this last bit, and this is again what Wikipedia says on la petite mort. It's the little death. It's an expression that means the brief loss or the weakening of consciousness. And in modern usage refers specifically to the sensation of post-orgasm as likened to death. So the first attested use of this expression was in English in, back when there were dodo birds, actually when dodo birds were still around. And if you don't know when dodos were born, maybe you should listen to our podcast because we broke down dodo and you can find out all kinds of cool things on the dissecting dodo. So be sure to check out that one.
1650, I think this term, was that when it was? The term?
Yeah, so
1650?
Yes, so this was before that. So La Petite Mort.
Then I had my first orgasm back then, by the way.
1572, and with the meaning of fainting fit. It later came to meaning a nervous spasm. Because, God help us, the women having orgasms were not looked at as something that was supposed to happen. And when women would fall into the sin of having an orgasm, well, the men just thought she was crazy. And what do we do with crazy people? We lock them up and we do electroshock therapy. We do all kinds of stuff when really all this person, were they losing their mind? Yeah, but for like 10 seconds, give them a fucking break, right? Like, look back at whatever it is. I don't know what it is, whatever your number is. But I just look back at the history of sex and it makes me so sad to think that women have had to constantly fight for the right to even feel like it's okay to say, oh, yes, I do like having sex. I should never say that. What unladylike thing to talk about when that is one of the most common things to do in the world. It's how each one of us got here.
And that's trying to remember. Well, you don't remember, but I do. Back in my day, we used to have the Vespers. Oh my God, I'm going to faint. Like women would faint at everything non-popular in society. If you said the wrong thing or looked the wrong way or commented the wrong sentence, women were fainting all the time. And you're right, it goes back to sex. Yes, they would. And I'm sure most of it was fake because back then anyone could have sex with you, which hence the word "fa" came from. There's different variables about this, but fornication under consent of the king, when the king used to have right to sleep with your virgin wife on the night of your wedding. And that's also where the red light district came from, by the way, because they would put a red kerchief on the door stating that the king was in there having sex with your woman. And of course, back then you would faint and have the vapors when you came, basically just to be done, so he could be the fuck off of you.
Yeah. I mean, so again, I'm going to say something that I say a lot, and tell me if I'm wrong. Let's start a debate. But I really am so thankful to be alive when I'm alive, because there's been so many great decades to be alive. But if you think about the sacrifice of going back to even just the 80s, how many things that we would lose that we currently have that are not the most important things, but that make life easier. And it's easier to come out with your beliefs, and it's okay to say how you feel. And it's okay for two women to have a podcast and talk about orgasms. Praise God, right? But yeah, I'm to quote Dave, praise God, right? Can I get an amen? So Karen, I'm going to wrap up this. So Hunger for the Great Light, great song. Again, it's on the Stand Up album. And if you don't know which one that is, that's cool, because it is a very easy one to identify because it has a fire dancer on the front of it. And that is what the cover is. And so definitely look into it. Break it down. Go line by line like we did. And you know what? I encourage you to attach that to your next Valentine, to your significant other, whoever he or she may be, because if they like to dig for treasure, this is a song that has a treasure that you can dig for.
Please. And call me.
Call me out. Call us after. Yeah, give us a full report on how we changed your Valentine's Day. Okay, yes. Hey, so let's take a short break to break down a few things, and then we'll be right back with a few more songs that we have found in the Dave Matthews Band that also talk about sex. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hey guys, I know you are literally in the middle of listening to one of my podcasts. And by the way, thank you so much for listening to this. This is such a dream to be able to talk about the Dave Matthews Band. Even if no one's listening, I like listening to it back. So thank you guys for listening to this. This again is one of my dreams. If you want to see more of The Space Between, definitely check us out on your social media. We do have Facebook. Right now it's under a group. It's The Space Between, a Dave Matthews Band family group. Right now we're almost to about 4,000. So thank you to everyone that has joined that group, and we'll continue to be posting on that Facebook group. Now, if you're over on Instagram, or hey, if you're not, join Instagram. It's under The Space Between _POD. And that's where we're going to stay updated as far as on what are the next episodes, who are our future guests, behind the scene items, and so be sure to check us out on Instagram as well. Now, lastly, are you one of those TikTok parents, or are you on TikTok at all? Well, if you're not, we can also be found on TikTok. We'll be doing those crazy ass dances that all the parents are trying to do, except we're going to butcher them. We're going to make them look really bad, because that's what I'm good at, is nerding up pretty much anything. So on there, it is Kiss on the Lip Smire, which is KISSONTHELIPSMEYER. Thanks so much for listening. Welcome back, guys. So we are going to finish up this episode. And again, the little death delight, the untold story of a Dave-gasm. So how in the world was this the only song that Dave has talked about sex in? If you've never listened to a Dave Matthews Band, something we need you to know is that we did not pick this song because this is his most perverted song or his only song about sex. Karen, talk to me about what Dave has done in other songs, and can it beat the dirtiness of Hunger for the Great Light?
Well, as we all know, there's so many songs that he talks about sex outright and open. You have, and I'm not even going to say the names of the songs. I'm not going to say a lyric and you guys figure it out. We'll call it a little bit of Jeopardy. It's a little bit of heaven and a little bit of oh. Cut it down the middle, open wide, and jump right in. Seriously, that joy is steeped with sin. All I want to do is go down on you. All I want to do is go down on you. I can say it a little bit sexier.
Yeah, can you spice that up for us a little bit, Karen? It's so like, all I want to do is go down on you. It's like a robot. Tell me like you want me to do it.
Oh my God. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Okay, you got me. You got me.
Oh, yes. Oh, God. There, how about that? Okay, so moving on.
And this is a free podcast, so all of you are motherfucking welcome. Welcome to the space between. We might be two females, but we two females with a sharp ass tongue. So loosen up. We warned you. We warned you.
Let's talk about Presto. Let's talk about the mind fucking part of it. Lovely lady, let me drink you, please. I promise I won't spill a drop. Seriously, he's getting a fucking mouthful of the vag. Seriously, my nibbly bits and pieces, he's getting a mouthful. But how just like non, you can read that any kind of way that you want. I will not spill a drop. Oh, good Lord, I'm getting really moist now. Let's go to the song. The number is song 7. I mean, seriously, that was on my license plate, and I love the fact that I drove around with DMB with the number 7 on my car. Because people are probably like, look at that bitch. Look at that nasty bitch right there. Number 7. And I don't care. I really don't.
You know what? No, I really, like I told you the other day, I think more people probably thought it was more realistic that you had 7 children. Or 7 something, like 7 cats. I don't know, but I don't think they would automatically think, oh my God, that is from the Dave Matthews Band song where they talk about sex. What a whore.
But you know, there are times, like I drive a lot, just visiting my kid and visiting my bestie, Amanda, and, you know, visiting you. And I drive around a lot and I see license plate. And I'm like, what is it? Like, some of them I can't figure out. And I would like Google that shit. Like, what is that to see if I can figure it out? But I would love someone to Google DMB7, soft as my finger, dirty pickpocket. I can taste you and I won't wash my hand. Please, God, I want some Christian woman to Google that. And
I am a Christian woman, so just Jamal.
Freaking want to talk about my Christianity because it pisses me off. But
really, Dave doesn't want to talk about that either. That's why you say you're
he's agnostic, but it's really a beautiful thing to be that, because it doesn't necessarily mean you don't believe in God. It means you can believe in God, but you just don't believe in something that controls everything, that you make your own path in life. And you decide what you're going to do. And he doesn't believe that there's a God out there that makes you choose right or wrong, that you should believe and do it yourself. So when I started really reading about being raised Mormon, let me tell you, when I started reading about that, it's kind of like, wow, that kind of makes sense. I also believe that I was put here to choose right and wrong myself. And there's no one else out there that's going to make me do that. I make my own path in life. And that's kind of what he believes in, and I kind of agree.
And again, we'd love to sit down with Dave Matthews. So if any of our listeners hook us up, hey man, I'm happy to do a Zoom meeting. Like, we just have a list of things we'd like to confirm. And also, I just really feel like I could sit around and get high with Dave, and it would just be really cool, right? Like, just be really cool to sit in the backyard and just like smoke a doobie and be like, what's up, Dave? Like, tell me more about what's up.
If you ever get him and you don't tell me, and you're just like, hey, by the way, I did Dave the other night as an interview, and I'm not.
Yeah,
I would cry.
I don't really want to talk about the Dave Matthews Band with Dave Matthews. Like, I really don't. And
You know what I would love, and I've said this for years in my head, for years and years in my head, I've said this. I want his children to write a book.
That'd be awesome.
I would love his Stella, Grace, August, and then his wife, Ashley. I want them to write a book about what it's like living with someone that we all feel is the greatest person in the world, Dave Matthews, and the band.
Right.
And how hard
the
it
band.
is to be a family of all of them, not just Dave, but let's just say the whole band, how hard it is to have them gone in the summer and touring. Although Dave is great and he does take August off because that's the kid's birthday and their anniversary and yada, yada. So he does take that month off so he can spend it with his family. But all the behind the scenes that we don't see, because yes, the tour stops a couple stops after the gorge. He has the few in California and whatnot. And then he's done, but we think he's done and he's home relaxing and kicking it up, but then he's really not. He's on tour with like Dave and Tim, where he's doing these other functions, and I want to hear from his kids all the lyrics that mean so much to us, that bring us to our knees and crying and sadness or happiness or, oh my God, somebody understands how I feel, and this man understands how I feel. He just put it in a song, and I never knew anyone felt that way other than me. What his kids think about it, or are they embarrassed when they're in college and they're like, oh my God, my dad's Dave Matthews. That's, oh my God, I can't believe it's my dad. Are they embarrassed by it? And I want to know from Ashley, does he leave his wet towel on the freaking bed after she makes it? Does he clip his toenails on the carpet and then vacuum it?
all those things that make him who he really is. Like,
not who he is, but who people are. Your husband does it. My ex-husband did it. It's not just Dave Matthews. It's people in general and the typical husband. Those are the stories that I want to hear. Has he ever embarrassed his kids? Or, you know, I don't know. I would love to. I would buy that book and produce it myself. I would read that book.
Behind the scenes. Let's just put that out into the universe. Me and Karen are, you know, we're going from podcast to writing a book. And we'd really like to write it behind the scenes from the perspective of the family members of the band. What it's like to be the truck driver's wife, you know, that is at home without a husband most of the time. Like, those are the stories that I'd love to tell, because it takes all of those people, and their perspective is gold in my eyes, because it is part of the story of what makes all of this happen, which is in turn my medicine, my sanity, my thing that I gravitate to every day. And I'm just so thankful, down even to, like we talked about in the past episode, I thank everybody for all of the work that they do to make this happen. And so those are the stories I hope to write one day. It's really not about, would I like to meet the band? Well, hell yeah, who's going to say that? But like I said in the past, I have to know about it, because I'm going to have to be stoned, because sober, Renae, like, I'm not really a conversationalist. I don't know how to talk to people. Like, I'm awkward. I don't know. If y'all ever see me and I'm like maybe not the friendliest person, just be like, hey, do you need a doobie? And I'll be like, you know what? I do. It's been too long. Let me smoke. And then out comes the Renae that talks about la petite mort and the meaning of the orgasm and blah, 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 blah. So, Karen, thank you so much for, again, being willing to break down another song, a song that's not played, again, that often, but I know that it has a fan following, and it should have more of one. So let's talk about that more. If you guys want to break down this song even more, or tell us your commentary on this song, or did we just blow your mind tonight? Did you know any of this? Did you think he was talking about the warm sun that is shining down on the skin? Like, what did you think this song was about? We would love to maybe read those in a future podcast as like a comedy section, because if you're anything like me, I think song lyrics are XYZ. Then when I see them in print, I'm like, oh shit, I've been singing that song wrong like my whole life. So if this is one of those songs that you have a funny story about, email me. It's renaelipsmeyer@gmail.com, and we'd love to read those in the next podcast. So there's some fun things that we'd like to do. Or if you have a podcast episode that you would like to hear, like, hey, let's break down this song, or you'd like to be a guest, or blah, 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 blah. We'd love your input, because again, this particular podcast is about the Dave Matthews Band fan world. the family that is behind the band. And so again, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. And thank you, Karen, for again being part of the Space Between.
You're so welcome. I have one more thing I want to say to the last that I didn't bring up. Do you know what Dave Matthews' first element is?
I don't.
It's fire.
Nuh-uh.
Just putting it out there. Yes, ma'am. Just thought you'd like that as a piece out.
Oh, wow. I'd like to confirm that again with Dave. Like, did you know that was your element, Dave?
Yeah, but you think about that, and I forgot all of it. I didn't bring it up, though, so focused on the sex part. But yeah, his birth element is fire. And I think that trades, I don't really fall for all that. Although I do read my horoscope every day and all of that, I don't really believe 100% in it. But just reading that about him, I just kind of clicked in my head like, oh man, that kind of makes sense. Oh, that's his birth element, fire.
That's
and
crazy.
And just songs and his energy. And yeah, so that's my last parting gift.
I'm going to write that down in my list of questions if I ever meet Dave, so I can just like whip it out and be like, just like a reporter, like, hold on, let me get my questions out. Like, all right, are you ready? Hold on, let's go smoke a joint together, and then I will ask these questions because I probably couldn't talk to you at first because I'm that weirdo.
He doesn't speak anymore, but yes, January.
He doesn't have to, but I'm gonna have to.
I would have to. You know, I don't show and I smoke.
I can't talk to people without being sound. I don't know. There's something chemically wrong with me, and that's cool, man. It's mental health. I ain't ashamed of it.
I need not ashamed of my game. I need a couple drinks.
Help it the way God made me. No, I cannot. And I don't have to. But thank you.
You're welcome. I love you so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Tune in soon. We've got so many great podcasts that are coming your way. We've got So Damn Lucky that is going to come on in the month of March to talk about their efforts. And then we've got some really Dave and Tim type subjects. Of course, in the future, after all our friends get back from Mexico, we'll interview those families that did get to go and their experience on the Dave and Tim in Cancun. So thank you guys for listening to this again, and join us next Thursday for another episode of The Space Between. Peace, love, and Dave Matthews Band.
Bye, guys. I love you. Mwah.